For over half a century, a mysterious spacecraft has silently circled our planet, cloaked in secrecy and sparking the imagination of scientists and skywatchers alike. It drifts above us, out of reach yet always present, like a ghost orbiting the Earth. With no clear mission updates, no publicized milestones, and no official acknowledgement for years at a time, this object has become the subject of countless rumors. Some claim it's a relic of a Cold War experiment. Others believe it's part of a secret military program, or something far more advanced and far less human. How has it remained in orbit for 53 years without fanfare, quietly looping around our world? And, more importantly, why? In this video, we'll explore the mysterious identity of this long-orbiting spacecraft, how it managed to survive for over 5 decades in space, the surprising technology that keeps it alive, and the theories, both scientific and speculative, that try to explain its purpose. It all began back in 1972, when a spacecraft known as OPS-0855, later dubbed by enthusiasts as the Silent Sentinel, was launched into a low Earth orbit under a veil of classified military secrecy. Officially, it was part of a broader reconnaissance mission during the Cold War, a time when both the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a fierce race to control not just Earth's surface, but the skies above. OPS-0855 wasn't meant to make headlines or inspire awe. It was designed to watch silently, collecting signals and data as tensions flared below. For decades, it remained largely forgotten by the public, buried in the footnotes of declassified mission logs and old satellite catalogs. But something curious started happening in recent years. Amateur astronomers, scanning the night sky with increasingly powerful backyard telescopes, began noticing unusual activity from the satellite. It was still there, still orbiting steadily after all these years, but with occasional flickers of light, brief radio signal pings, and inexplicable shifts in its orientation. For an object long believed to be inactive, this was baffling. How could a spacecraft launched over 5 decades ago with technology from another era still be operational, or at least responsive? Scientists took notice too. The once overlooked orbital relic suddenly became the subject of renewed interest, sparking debates in forums, think tanks, and astrophysics departments. Some even suggested that OPS-0855 might hold secrets we've never fully understood, making it not just a relic, but a living mystery orbiting just above our heads. To understand what makes OPS-0855's continued presence so fascinating, we need to look at the brutal reality of space. Satellites don't just survive on luck. They endure an environment that is relentlessly hostile, extreme radiation, wild temperature swings from searing heat to frigid cold, and the constant threat of micrometeorite impacts. Most satellites have an expected lifespan of 10 to 15 years, and that's assuming regular maintenance or upgrades, which this one has never had. So how is OPS-0855 still functioning, or at least responding in 2025? Some experts believe the answer lies in its original engineering. During the Cold War, spacecraft like this were often overbuilt, constructed with far more durability than modern cost-efficient satellites. Think of it like comparing an old rotary phone to a modern smartphone. The smartphone is sleek and smart, but fragile. The rotary phone, nearly indestructible. OPS-0855 was likely powered by early-generation radioisotope thermoelectric generators, or RTGs, which use the heat from decaying radioactive material, like plutonium-238, to produce electricity. These power sources can last for decades, making them ideal for long-duration missions. RTGs are what kept the Voyager probes alive as they journeyed far beyond the edge of the solar system. It's plausible the same technology is quietly humming inside OPS-0855, but the real mystery lies in its recent behavioral flares. Instruments like NORAD's tracking systems and independent radio observatories have logged brief pulsing emissions, spikes in radio frequencies that shouldn't be possible for a long-dead satellite. Some scientists think these emissions could be remnants of a once sophisticated signal processing system trying to reorient or reboot. Others believe it may have switched into a fail-safe diagnostic mode, sending out distress pulses every few years. Even more intriguing is that when researchers compared its orbital path and signal patterns with other known objects, they noticed something strange. OPS 0855 occasionally performs slight trajectory adjustments as if correcting itself. That kind of maneuvering requires either leftover fuel or an onboard AI, a chilling possibility considering the spacecraft's age. Could this relic be smarter than we thought? And if so, who exactly built it to last this long? And why the USEI? Real question scientists are now asking is, are we witnessing the final chapter of OPS 0855, or something else entirely? If the spacecraft truly is entering a failure phase, then these signal pulses and orientation shifts could be the dying breaths of an ancient machine. But predicting exactly when, or if, it will finally go silent is difficult. Much like watching a star in its final stages of life, timing in space is never exact. Objects can degrade slowly over years, or fail in a single catastrophic moment. There's even speculation that we might be observing echoes of something that's already happened. Because radio signals take time to reach Earth, and data from satellites is often delayed by analysis and decryption, it's possible that OPS 0855 already experienced a major event, like a critical system failure or a self-destruct sequence, and we're only now seeing the effects. It's a reminder that in space, time is as fluid as the silence that surrounds it. But here's the twist. If this spacecraft does fail in a dramatic way, say, through an explosive fuel leak or a system overload, it could briefly become one of the brightest artificial objects in the sky. A sudden flash of light, visible even during daylight hours, might catch the eyes of people around the world. It would be a fitting farewell for a spacecraft that spent over half a century silently circling above us, unseen, uncelebrated, and perhaps never truly understood. Imagine stepping outside on an ordinary evening, expecting to see the usual scattering of stars, and instead, you catch a sudden, silent bloom of light racing across the sky. No warning. No sound. Just a radiant burst, like a flare igniting in the darkness, outshining even the brightest planet. That could be the moment OPS 0855 meets its end. If the spacecraft explodes, whether from internal pressure buildup, a decaying orbit, or a final electrical surge, the result would be spectacular and terrifyingly beautiful. Depending on the altitude and magnitude of the event, the explosion could produce a bright flash visible from Earth's surface, potentially rivaling the brightness of a full moon for a few fleeting seconds. In areas with clear skies, people might see fragments trailing off in streaks of light, tiny artificial meteors burning up as they re-enter Earth's atmosphere. In the stillness of the night, across cities, forests, deserts, and oceans, millions could look up and witness this celestial goodbye. But beyond the visuals, it's the emotional weight that hits hardest. This isn't just metal and wires falling from orbit. It's the closing chapter of a machine that watched over Earth for generations. A silent observer that outlived expectations, carried secrets through the vacuum of space, and finally returned to us in one last blaze of glory. For a brief moment, humanity might feel united, not in fear, but in awe, sharing a once-in-a-civilization glimpse of light from the shadows of the past. The potential explosion of OPS 0855 isn't just a dramatic event. It's a rare opportunity for science. If it truly ends in a visible burst, every observatory on Earth would pivot toward it. Telescopes from space agencies, amateur astronomers, even deep space radio arrays would scramble to collect data. Why? Because in that brief moment, we'd be watching the death of a spacecraft as if it were a dying star, giving us a real-time, controlled glimpse into high-energy disintegration in orbit. That kind of information is invaluable, especially as we plan for the long-term future of satellites, space debris management, and interstellar technology. And while OPS-0855 is no star, its end mirrors something much grander. When real stars explode, supernovae or kilonovae, they do more than just flash and fade. They forge elements that didn't exist before. In the heart of those cataclysmic moments, atoms like gold, platinum, and uranium are born. The very materials that power our reactors, form our jewelry, and enable advanced electronics come from the violent deaths of massive stars like VY Canis Majoris or Antares. Those explosions scatter stardust across the galaxy, seeding future solar systems, maybe even ones like ours. It's a reminder of our deep connection to the cosmos. Every atom in our bodies, from the calcium in our bones to the iron in our blood, was forged in the heart of a star. Even something as human-made as a spacecraft ultimately obeys the same cosmic rules: creation, transformation, and eventual return to the void. OPS-0855's story, in its own small way, mirrors the great cycle of existence: dust to dust, star to stardust, machine to memory. Despite how dramatic an explosion might sound, there's no danger to Earth from OPS-0855's end, or even from a nearby supernova if we were witnessing one. In the case of this spacecraft, the most we might see is a flash of light, maybe a few harmless streaks as debris burns up harmlessly in the atmosphere. No radiation threat, no falling wreckage, nothing to fear, just a fascinating light show. From the edge of our world, even with massive stars, like if Antares or Betelgeuse were to go supernova, we're far enough away that the effects would be purely visual. At most, we might see stronger auroras due to increased ionization in the upper atmosphere. Beautiful ribbons of light dancing across the skies, not unlike the northern lights. Harmless, but unforgettable. And here's something even cooler: neutrino detectors around the world, underground observatories that watch for ghostly particles from deep space, can actually detect the signals of a stellar explosion hours before we see the light. It's like a cosmic early warning system, giving scientists time to prepare telescopes and alert the world. So, while the sky might surprise us with a sudden glow, behind the scenes, Earth's best minds are always watching, ready, and keeping us safe. We're witnessing the final breath of a giant, a farewell over half a century in the making. OPS-0855 was never meant to become a legend. It was launched in secrecy, lived in silence, and orbited in solitude, forgotten by most. Yet somehow it endured. Decades passed, empires rose and fell, technology leaped forward, and still it circled above us, watching, waiting, surviving. Now, as it prepares to fade forever, it reminds us of something much bigger than itself. In the vast theater of space, time moves differently. What we see tonight may have begun unfolding years ago. Light carries ancient stories. Particles whisper of events we've yet to fully understand. And whether it's a spacecraft nearing its end or a distant star going supernova, each cosmic moment is a thread in the grand tapestry of the universe. We are lucky, astonishingly lucky, to live in a time when we can witness such wonders. The heavens are not static. They flicker, they flare, they evolve. Somewhere out there, another mystery is waiting, another light preparing to reach us. All we have to do is look up, because the universe is speaking. And sometimes, in its quietest moments, it says the most extraordinary things. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear what you think about the mysteries orbiting right above our heads.